Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Today we have our student, Dr. Rahul Amrutya, who took a pre-match, and despite the challenges he faced that we'll go into, so he has some tips for students who are going into the match now. So let's bring him on and understand his journey. So welcome, Rahul. Glad to have you here.
Thank you very much, Pawan sir. I am really appreciative of this opportunity.
So let's start with a bit of a background about you. So tell us about your year of graduation and some profile information.
Sure. My name is Dr. Rahul Kumar Amrutya, and I accepted a pre-match offer in a New York-based residency program recently. And I am a medical graduate from India. I graduated back in 2019, and then I cleared all of my USMLE steps, and I applied for a match, but I went unmatched the last season. So I reapplied, and this was my second attempt at the match, and I matched in a New York-based community program. So regarding my profile, I had 9 months of US clinical experience, as well as some amount of research experience from India, as well as the US.
Okay. So Rahul, in spite of being almost a recent graduate, you did have some challenges in your journey. So why don't you talk about one or two main challenges and how you overcame, because this was your second season.
Sure. So one of the biggest red flag in my application was my CS attempt. So what happens basically is that when you apply to the residency programs, they use computerized filter. And if you have an attempt in any of your step, then they are going to filter out your application despite you have a very high score, despite you having a very high score. So that was the biggest challenge I was facing. And to overcome it, Sarthi taught me a very important trick, that is program outreach. So if you have some red flags in your application, then you should do aggressive program outreach. And there are a lot of ways to do it. Basically, you need to force residency program to open your application. So one of the way is that you can email the program director, program coordinator, or any of the faculty member in the residency program. So Sarthi taught me how to write a good email so that it makes a good impression and they are going to open up your application. Another trick is that you can call those residency program and share your AAMC ID. Some programs will take it, some programs are not going to take your ID, but it depends on luck and if the program is receptive of your call or not. And the last thing is that if anyone in the residency program can recommend you by word of mouth, then that also works. So somehow you have to find a way to make them open up your application. So that's what Sarthi taught me, and it was really helpful to get some extra interviews.
Yeah. So Rahul, that is the interview side of it. But you must have made changes to your profile in this season compared to the last season. So what all did you do in this season, whether it was USC or research, to improve your profile?
Sure. So every residency program is looking for improvements. So compared to last season, I got some fresh LORs as well as fresh US clinical experience. Apart from that, I wrote some research papers and I published them. And Sarthi taught me how to highlight some of the unique experiences in my CV and how to sell myself during the interviews. For example, every applicant will have some hobbies written in their CV. But since it's a virtual platform, we are not able to showcase our work properly. So Sarthi taught me how we can use this virtual platform to showcase our hobby and our collection. Let me give you one example. So I am a numismatist and I love collecting coins. So Sarthi team taught me how to showcase my coin collection using this virtual platform. So let me give this example. So I have this unique hobby of coin collection. And during all of my interviews, I was able to showcase all of my coin collection using this virtual platform. And I was also able to share the paper notes which I have collected. And all of the interviewers were very impressed, and they were able to see that I really participated in this hobby of coin collection. So this is what Sarthi team taught me.
That's great, Rahul. Thank you. And so continuing on this discussion of what programs are looking for and how do you, kind of position yourself with the program. What did you find some of the other things during the season that programs look for? Maybe in the interviews, something that you picked that every program is looking for, these ABC kind of 3 things, 4 things. Is it the US clinical experience? Is it research? Is it hobbies? What do they look for?
So during the interviews, programs are looking for a well-rounded application. So you should have 3 fresh US letter of recommendation. You should have a little bit of research experience, and you should be able to communicate well during the interviews, and you should be able to show them that you really did all the work which you have written in your application. So this is what all the residency programs are looking for. And one unique thing regarding my application was that I did a quality improvement project during my medical school time.
I see.
But I didn't know how to sell it. So when I joined Sarthi, I found out from the Telegram group that quality improvement project is one of the requirement. Like ACGME requires every resident to do at least one QI project during the residency training. So I already had the experience of one QI project during my medical school, and Sarthi taught me how I can use that as a selling point during my interviews. So all of my interviewers were very interested in knowing about the QI project which I did in my medical school. So this is what they are looking for.
Good. So basically research, rotations, and then maybe ability to communicate about your hobbies or just in general articulating your experience. Okay.
That's correct.
So that takes me to the other important question, which a lot of applicants are now, starting to prepare for the next season. What would be your tips to the applicants who are going into the season? General tips on how they can do better.
Sure. So if any of the applicant is looking to improve their profile, then they should fill all the aspects in their application. For example, CV has specific slots for hobbies, for research experience, for poster presentation, oral presentation, US clinical experience. So you should have at least one experience in all those slots. So you should never leave any section of your CV empty. And also at the same time, it is very important that you should not over exaggerate your CV. For example, every applicant will have 5 to 6 hobbies written in their CV, but that's not meaningful. Sarthi taught me that we should only add meaningful experiences and hobbies to our CV. For example, I had this unique hobby of coin collection. So I only added 1 to 2 hobbies in my CV, and I was able to talk about them in detail during my interview. So that's very important. Your CV should be filled with meaningful experiences. They are not looking for bulk in your CV, but they are looking for quality content. So that's what I would suggest all the applicants to focus upon.
Okay. And maybe the last question, you may not have gotten it in the interview, but did the programs ask about attempts and how you overcame? And, in general, if someone has a red flag, now let's say you get the interview, how do you explain the red flag?
Well, some of the programs are interested in knowing about your attempts as well as some red flags. So a good strategy to answer this kind of question is that first you should put your ego aside and you should tell them that you have no hesitation or shame in accepting your mistake. And then you should go on to explain them that what you learned from your mistake and how you overcame all those difficulties. For example, I had an attempt in my CS exam. So I was able to tell them that how I overcame and what I learned from my mistakes. So my attempt was due to my poor communication skills. and my lack of familiarity with the US healthcare system. So I told all of my residency programs that to familiarize myself with the US healthcare system, I did 9 months of clinical rotations and what I learned from all those rotations. So they were very happy with my answers, and that's how you should answer every of these kind of questions. Like, you should tell them what you learned and what you did to improve.
Okay. Well, this was great, Rahul. Much appreciate your time. I think your very precise tips will definitely help the upcoming match cycle applicants. So good luck in your residency, and thank you for joining us.